Hello, everyone. This is Lisa from Power Wheelchairs for Success, and it is time for News You Can Use. So, today we are going to travel around a little bit on the globe, and we're going to look at some good news happening and some sad news, but mostly good news. So, we're going to start with Japan, of all places. Japan to limit use of parking spots for wheelchair users. Now, that title is a little bit deceptive, misleading, but I could see, reading the article now, I understand what they're trying to do. So, with all these parking spots for wheelchair users, their main purpose is the following. In the guidelines, the ministry plans to call for limiting the use of parking spots for wheelchair users to those who actually need them, as some people with difficulty walking do not necessarily need large spaces when getting in and out of their vehicles. See, they have two different sizes of parking spots for wheelchair users. One that's a little bit larger that you would normally use for a van that has a ramp. So they want to limit those for, just those who have a ramp and have big equipment that they need to roll out. And they have the smaller parking spots that are just for a car to park in there. And they get out and they have maybe a manual wheelchair or an unfolding wheelchair. So those are smaller bays, what they call. So we want to thank Japan for thinking of creative ways and making sure that those larger spots are available for those who really need them and not for people who might not need them as much as someone who needs a ramp or has or an electronic ramp for them to get out of their vehicle, and it needs that space. All right, so that's Japan. So thank you, Japan. And this is coming from the Japan Times. And as always, I will post that link so you can read the entire article. This one, advocates question whether Air Canada has cultural problems after issues with teen wheelchair. So this is a family that was flying to the United States and coming back to Canada, and they spoke to Air Canada on the phone, and they emailed Air Canada, and there was good communication, a good plan. They were going to take the teen's fold-up wheelchair and put it in the closet in the body of the plane, not down below. So there was all these agreements and all these efforts on the part of the family to make sure that the wheelchair didn't go down below, because as we know, a lot of times they get broken. Well, true to form, when they got there, of course, Air Canada didn't know anything about it, and the closet in the plane was already full, and they weren't going to comply. They didn't want to see the email, nothing. So there was a big argument and discussion and disagreements, and the family had to get off the plane. So here we go again, So this is a difficult situation that keeps on occurring with Air Canada. So hopefully in Canada, the country of Canada, the government of Canada will catch up to Air Canada and talk to them about the difficulties that people are having with wheelchairs overall, because wheelchairs are being broken, being dropped off at the wrong airports, all this kind of stuff. So Air Canada, we're hoping that you work on this and make sure that you improve your treatment of people with disabilities all the way around. All right. This is great. This is happening in my own town of Milwaukee, a city of Milwaukee. So the title reads, "A Boat to Read In, Books in Braille, and Stuffed Animals. Gensling School Library is inviting and inclusive." So this school library, they originally, it was adapted, and made for wheelchair access. But they decided to go a little bit further, and they made it accessible to kids with hearing loss, kids who were blind, for kids who have wheelchairs, and autism, all those kind of situations. So We want to thank the Gosselin School Library for putting in their imagination, for putting in those efforts and the cost that goes along with making a library accessible for all. And I'm very tempted to go by and take a look at this library. It sounds awesome. So they have the reading forestry, the storyteller circle in the middle of the library, a lounge area that features comfortable seating that can be reconfigured in different arrangements. And in the Great Lakes area, the texture carpet simulates water. There's a tactile Great Lakes state map on the wall, and best of all, a boat built for former 8th grade students sit in the middle of the area, which students can go into and read their books. So thank you again, Gosselin School Library, for your awesome openness to make it flexible and inclusive to so many kids so they can learn. This one is coming out of Houston, Texas. I have spoken about safety. Sometimes we can be a little bit vulnerable as wheelchair users. However, this wannabe robber received quite a surprise. Veteran in wheelchair shoots would-be robber who targeted him near Metro headquarters, police say. So I'm happy to say that the robber is in the hospital recovering, and they'll have a nice, cozy, comfortable spot for when he recovers. Now this is awesome because we know wheelchairs are being adjusted, adapted, and changed in so many directions in so many different ways, and they're making them more adaptable. So this comes from the WAND. We are Central Illinois. So this is down in Illinois, a new robotic hands-free wheelchair to help with mobility in users. So what they are doing is taking, the example of the Segways and putting that technology to use for a wheelchair. They have it looks like a ball in the middle of the chair, and you can use it to, with your weight, to balance if you want to go forward, backward, or sideways. So it will be interesting to see how all of that turns out. So they're using, I think, a bowling ball for initially. So one of the workers there is using it. He has a need for a wheelchair, so he's test driving it as they make adaptations. They're hoping to have a model ready for next year. So that is in Illinois. We'll see how they do. In Colorado, Colorado becomes the first state to open wheelchair repair for users. This is coming from the NPR and is written by Andrew Kenny. I reported on this law that was being worked on for users to have the authority and the permission to fix their own wheelchairs. You know that the companies who make these wheelchairs put warranties on different types of warranties on different parts of the wheelchair, and you can't touch it because otherwise it annihilates the warranties, and then you can't get it fixed at all. Or if you need the wheelchair fixed, it takes weeks or sometimes even months. And those of us who depend on wheelchairs, we just can't afford to be waiting weeks or months. So this law has been activated as of this month in Colorado, and so this is awesome. So it reads somewhere on your list of life's annoyances is primarily this: manufacturers who won't let customers fix products themselves. Some states are pushing back with right to repair laws. Andrew Kenny from Colorado Public Radio visited with one of the first people to use a new right to repair law for power wheelchairs. So this is incredible. They just wanted to make some adjustments to the wheelchair to have it go a little bit faster and just make some fine tuning. And they were having to wait for weeks for a technician to come by. They realized the technician wasn't doing anything like, genius. He was just using an app to make the adjustments that Bruce wanted to his wheelchair. So they asked the tech to please make available the app so they could make those adjustments themselves. So this law is going to help us a lot, I think. We constantly have to, book repair times far out and wait for a technician to come. Or we have to go to the garage and bring our power wheelchairs to get them fixed, and it takes a long time. And that's what's happening. I'm going to cross over to the airlines. They have to replace wheelchairs that they break, and it takes months to get one. So good for you, Colorado. Thank you so much for opening this law to owners of power wheelchairs who are courageous, who have the ability to fix their own wheelchairs. I can go ahead and do it without breaking any warranties. So thank you, NPR, as well, for putting this article out for us to be aware of where this law is now in full swing. So that is it, folks, for News You Can Use. We hope you come again, and if there's any special news you would like for us to report on or investigate, please let us know.